Hello everyone, I'm here today with a flip-through video. I've been working on my Chicago album, which is a 6x12 pocket page album, and I'm about halfway. I think I'm actually a little more than halfway, and so I figured this was a good point to kind of stop and just do a little flip through of what I have so far. And just to let you know, this is a Studio Calico album, 6x12, so if you like the look of this, that is where you can find it. And most of these do have process videos, not all, but most. So I'm just gonna walk through them quickly so you can see them. So my opening page here was really simple. I just found a map online that I liked, printed out part of it, did a little rub on in the date, and that was it. Pretty easy, but I love the colors in it. And my trip, I always say trips start the second I go out the door. So it's not when I land, it's not when I get to the airport, it's really when I'm leaving the house, the trip has begun. So I did a page here that's about the bus station because I took an express bus from downtown out to the airport. And then I have photos here that are from the airport when I was getting ready to board, and a little blurb here about I was nervous. It was supposed to rain quite a bit and I was afraid that it was going to delay my flight, but it didn't. Everything was fine. We landed on time in Chicago. And this is a little more from my flight. I was reading a book on the plane and it turned out the person next to me had read it, and so we discussed a little bit about it, which was fun. And then I didn't really journal here because I didn't think it needed it. I've been to Chicago many times. I fly a lot, and so I really didn't have a ton to say about that. And then this is once I landed, and you can see where I landed at O'Hare. I took the blue line straight to where I needed to go, and I pretty much only took the blue line until it was time to leave because it got me everywhere I needed to go. So these are just some kind of transit photos as I'm making my way into the city. And then this layout is about the art museum because this was the main reason for going. This is what prompted the trip, is because I wanted to see the big Manet exhibit that was there. And then it just so happened that once I booked the trip, I discovered that Hamilton was still running in Chicago. And so Hamilton became number 2 reason to go. But this was the first reason. So I've got pictures in the museum, my ticket, and then part of the visitor guide / brochure. And then this is part of the map so I could show some of the other things I did other than the Manet exhibit. So I have highlighted those here with those little acrylic pieces, which I quite enjoy. And then I also took in a Rembrandt exhibit, a very small exhibit when I was there. So I talked about that and talked about being slightly disappointed. I thought it was going to be bigger. I didn't realize it was only 3 paintings. And then I went on to another exhibit that was there, also fairly small. It was the Connoisseurship of Japanese Prints, and I enjoyed it, but again, I was a little disappointed because the description made it sound bigger for some reason, and so I got through this exhibit really quickly. I did enjoy it, and I had a bunch of Asian stuff that I was able to use with this, which is fun because I love the look of Asian art, so I was able to use that here. And most of these Asian things that you see here are from Coco Daisy, by the way. So if you like the look of those, that is where I got them. And then it was on to the Impressionist area. And I think I do have a process video for this one. I added something after the fact, I believe. I don't think I did this during the video. And that's this, I don't know if you can see that well. I hope you can. It's a patch that I actually bought at the Met in New York when I was just there. But it worked for this painting, and so I took that out of the set. There were 4 artists that came as patches, and so I put his on here, and it works. So I did add that later. And then just some fun embellishments over here to highlight the photos. And then these are the Chagall windows, and they are fantastic. If you've never been to the art museum in Chicago, I highly recommend that you go if you're an art person, and make sure you see these. I did journal about it. They're kind of in a weird place. They're like in their own little alcove off a hallway when you're kind of walking between things. So if you don't know they're there, you might walk right on past and not realize it. So make sure that you get a map and look for where these are located. And then I also wandered into this gallery. This was not intentional. I didn't mean to go in there, but I kind of just turned to my left and I could see stuff through the doorway that looked cool. So I thought, oh, you know what? I have time. I'm not in a rush. I'm going to go there and check it out. And I'm glad I did because I found some cool things in there. I really enjoyed it. And then I do believe I have a process video for this one. This was kind of finishing up that area of the museum and then going to have lunch because by then it was actually a little bit later. I think, yeah, here it says it was 1:23, so it was kind of a late lunch, but that was fine. I was enjoying myself. So I sat down, had a late lunch, relaxed for a little bit, and then I went on to the final thing I was there for, which was the Manet exhibit. And so as you can see, I tried to kind of make them match, even though the pages don't go together. I wanted to carry the green throughout, and I think it came out pretty well. Now this one, I don't think I did a process video for it because there really isn't a whole lot to it. So it came together really quickly. And this is the layout featuring the Manet photos. Now this one, I can't remember if I have a process video or not. I remember it came together pretty quickly. And I did add something after I thought I was done with the page. So if there's a process video and you watched it, you may notice there's something different here. I actually decided to put a flip on this side because I had things I wanted to say about things I learned about Manet that I didn't know. And I had studied all the Impressionists quite a bit, but learned something new when I went to this exhibit. So I wanted to make sure that I talked about that. But in order to do that, I had to add a flip. So there's my journaling, and then I just added this card because the pink went with the other pink tones that I had. And then this is an acrylic piece from Bramble Fox. They're out of the UK. They have a monthly subscription kit, and I actually signed up for it now because I love their stuff. But this was one that was just kind of thrown in the box with an order I did. And I thought, how am I going to use that? It ended up that it worked very well because it's all French. And I know there's a process video for this one because I really wanted to highlight getting to my hostel. I love transportation photos. So I wanted to include a route map of the L. That's the subway and rail system in Chicago. And the fact that it was in Greektown, so you can kind of see, it's hard to see here, but it does say Greektown on the flags there. I could see the Sears/Willis Tower from where I was staying, so I wanted to include that. This is the stop that was closest on the blue line to where I was staying, so I use that a lot. Here's the front of the hostel and what the inside looks like. And I had never stayed here before, so tried something new. And then this was the inside. So this was the floor that I was on, and my room was way at the end. So I'm standing outside my door here looking down the other way. So it was kind of nice. I don't think there was anybody on either side of me. It was pretty quiet in those rooms. I didn't hear anybody. I heard more noise from the street than I did in my room. So I just journaled a little about that. And then it was time for dinner after I rested a bit. And there is a process video for this one, but here's another one where I added something. I did decide to stamp on here after I had this all put together. So I added where it says out to eat. And then I included a receipt here. I love to put in receipts if I have them. And this one worked very well there. And this is my last full layout, and it's actually multiple pages. And it's all about Hamilton. I knew it would take more than one layout really because I loved it so much and I had some good photos. So I journaled, and these cards are from Allie Edwards, and I think there are 5. It's either 5 or 6, I think. And I'm using them all just for this album because they are numbered. I want them to go as a set. So I'm going to have to figure out how to use the rest of them as the album goes on. But I was already at story number 3 for this one. And then one of the other things I really had fun with on this layout was I chose quotes from the show. So I just used the Project Life app, picked backgrounds that would work, and added in the quotations. So there's one here. There's one here. I put in the playbill, and that is not secured. I just dropped it in. So if anybody wants to look at it when they're looking at the album, they could slide that right out and see the entire thing. I didn't want to pull it apart. And then here's a great photo from outside. I wanted to include that as well. This is another acrylic piece from Bramble Fox. And then this is the right side of this last layout here. Another quotation, another one here. So I want to make sure I work those in. And I found a way to use my ticket. I wasn't sure that was going to work because it was longer. I had to take some of it apart and cut this off. But in the end, I made it fit, and I'm super glad that I did. So that is the first half, or perhaps slightly more than the first half of my Chicago album. And I have enjoyed putting it together. It's my first time doing a 6x12. I'm really enjoying it. Thanks for watching, everyone.